25% for 2 months, 25.5% for 4 months. Valuable FD.
A very good evening. You're watching Primetime News on TV1. For the News First team, I'm Mariam Ganuvijaya. We start off with a look at the headlines.
Coal stocks are limited and serious concerns of a looming power crisis. Police request for a month to nab a group that set fire to a school student. Special task force to be assigned to curb the underworld and drugs. 3 people dead following motor accidents on railway crossings. Some of the benefits are slashed and more benefits for those who need them most. Opposition leader launches Sri Lanka first to develop the nation. Anura Kumara calls on people not to be deceived by tactics to create conflicts. Stephanie Frappart to make history as the first woman referee in a Men's World Cup match.
On to your lead story tonight. Sri Lanka is once again planning to increase electricity tariffs, and multiple factions have warned that the country is likely to face a serious electricity crisis. The main reason for the crisis is the issue surrounding the procurement of coal for the Norachole coal power plant.
We need 38 coal shipments before the 30th of April 2023. From April to August, we cannot unload coal due to the off-season. Therefore, at least 30 shipments must reach the country soon. If not, we will have to go for extended power cuts.
Sri Lanka state-run Lanka Coal Company awarded a tender to Black Sand Commodities Company on the 10th of August for coal procurement. However, it was later terminated due to concerns over the methodology in awarding the tender. The tender was for a 6-month period. After this tender fell through, Lanka Coal Company called for 2 long-term and short-term tenders and both failed. Therefore, Lanka Coal Company has to pay cash upfront for 21 coal shipments to procure coal from the previous supplier. In addition, Lanka Coal Company had to settle its dues for 2021 to the supplier, while it also owes some $14 million to the same supplier. Lanka Coal Company said that the country is not in a position to make dollar or rupee payments to make these purchases. Lanka Coal Company says that 6 shipments must reach Sri Lanka monthly before the off-season, and as per the calculations, around 12 shipments should have already reached Sri Lankan shores. However, the dollar and rupee crisis had made it possible to only access half of those shipments. Lanka Coal Company warned that the existing stocks of coal will only be sufficient until the 20th of January 2023.
If we do not receive these 38 shipments by the 15th of April, come July or August 2023, we will have to go for extremely lengthy power cuts. It would become the longest power cut in history. That is why we warn that we will have a dark July in 2023. It's winter in Europe. In January or February, world fuel prices will increase. We do not have sufficient dollars to make purchases based on those prices. On one hand, we do not have sufficient water in the reservoirs. We have not imported sufficient stocks of coal. We are at risk of facing a serious electricity crisis in March. The previous leaders did not listen to us. They acted on their own, and the country has to pay for it. We urge the present leadership to work according to a plan. If not, we will face a serious power crisis in the future.
The Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka said that it approved a power cut of 2 hours and 20 minutes daily for Thursday and Friday. However, Power and Energy Minister Kanchana Wijesekara tweeted on Wednesday that power cuts will take place until the 15th of December. The tweet also noted that nighttime power cuts will not apply to the southern and Alla tourist areas. Will the electricity tariff be increased? The Public Utilities Commission says the Commission does not agree to the proposed rate increase.
They are asking for 721 billion for fuel to produce 4,600 gigawatt hours. This is where the question lies. We buy furnace oil at a price of 320 rupees per litre, which is very expensive. On average, the CPC earns a profit of 120 to 140 rupees per litre of furnace oil. And this 440 billion is requested with that profit. This should not be done. We have no problem if the decisions of the cabinet are within the law. If it is not contrary to that law, it will not happen. Some political authorities have the desire to abolish this act. We must definitely say that the Public Utilities Commission is going to disable this and abolish it. I respect the law. I don't respect the minister. We increased the tariff from the 10th of December. The CEB has an operational profit of 1 billion. So where is the loss? No loss has been incurred. We cannot try to pay the previous debt from the tariffs.
Profit මේක මාසයක්වත් අලාභ නැහැ. ඒතර පරණ ණය ගෙවන්න ටැරිෆ් එකෙන් ගන්න බෑනේ.
Several parties opposed the decision to increase the electricity tariff in Parliament.
As proposed in Parliament, we suggested that this increase in electricity tariffs should be stopped immediately, and the highest amount of funds allocated from the budget should be allocated for the 4.3 million children and mothers in this country. I also have a problem there, because the advanced level exam starts on the 23rd of January. Exams will be held until mid-February. Then there cannot be any power cuts. Electricity tariffs cannot be increased during that period. Therefore, I will refer this especially to the Cabinet and the Ministry of Power.
We are aware that Sri Lanka's economy slumped into crisis as proper decisions were not made at the appropriate time, releasing the official reserves to the market and keeping the dollar at 202 rupees, not seeking IMF assistance at the right time, the sudden ban on chemical fertilizer, and continuously restricting imports and exports without any investigation are some of the root causes for the crisis. Even more serious issues that face the country are fraud, corruption and waste. These are now known as economic crimes. The country is in a position where it cannot repay the debt and has been dragged into a situation where it is impossible to open a single letter of credit. Now it's said that there is no one to give us fuel, coal and gas at subsidized prices or on long-term credit. Therefore, payments are being done without proper methods, not following the proper procurement process, while the premium is being paid as per their needs. Millions of people's money is paid as demurrage for shipments. Power cuts of 2 hours and 20 minutes a day still continue. Finally, the people of the country are asked to pay for all of these.
Ampetia is a quiet town in Kandy, and it made headlines recently, not for anything good. A student who topped the O-level examination with 9 A's recently was beaten up and torched on the 27th of November. He was attacked while heading to his aunt's place with his father, and the finger was directly pointed at the criminal gang responsible for multiple crimes in the area. As allegations were made that the police did not take any action to crack down on this gang, the people from 7 neighborhoods in Mikanuwa in Ampetia were summoned for a meeting with the Senior Superintendent of Police for the Kandy Range, Shamil Ratnayaka.
අපි පාර දෙකක් තුනක් දානවා. අපිට ප්‍රතික්‍රියා මොකක්ද?
පුද්ගලික ආරක්ෂාවේ අයිතිය දේපල වලට සහ තමන්ට මරණය දක්වා පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන්.
එතුමා පුද්ගලික ආරක්ෂාවේ අයිතිය කියලා ඒක අයිතිය සීමාවල් තියෙනවා. අර සීමාවල් තියෙනවා. ඒ සීමාව කියලා මිනිහෙක් බැන්න කියලා ඔගේ අතපය කට්ටු කරන්න බෑ.
The meeting concluded after Sri Lanka police agreed to solve the matter within a month. The student, who suffered serious burn injuries, is currently being treated in hospital. Sri Lanka's Public Security Secretary S. Hettiarachchi expects to deploy the police special task force to crack down on drugs and underworld criminal activity.
Prisons are reaching a maximum capacity because of the rising number of drug users. An act was introduced recently to impose the death penalty for those in possession of 10 grams or more of ice or crystal meth. We need to prepare a special program based on rehabilitation rather than imprisonment for drug users. This has become a national issue because school children are being used to promote drugs. It is not easy to crack down on this. However, we will deploy the STF. They will be moved from other duties and will be deployed to crack down on drugs and underworld criminal activity. We have deployed large number of STF personnel for the protection at the Busa and Agunakola Palace prison. We hope to speak with the Department of Prisons and withdraw those personnel. We have already removed a segment. We have already trained over 200 STF personnel in modern warfare. Secondly, we will withdraw the STF from security at the Agunakola Palace open prison. We will deploy the STF to completely crack down on drugs and crime. Thereafter, we will recruit around 600 personnel to the STF.
මද්‍රව්‍ය මාර්ධන කර්ත ඒක පළවෙනි පියවර දෙවෙනි පියවරට අපි ළඟදී 600ක් බඳව ගන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා මේ STF එකට.
In some tragic news making headlines tonight, reckless driving cost the lives of 3 people on Thursday at 2 separate railway crossings.
This woman is weeping over the death of her 65-year-old brother who died in a tragic motor accident in Gaul. Sarat Nanekara was a professional 3-wheeler driver and was transporting Russian national Daria Zinelnikova on Thursday morning. Tragedy struck when the 3-wheeler crossed the railway crossing located in Maharaba, Unavatuna, recklessly. The train plying from Beliatta to Anuradhapura crashed through the 3-wheeler around 10 am, killing Sarat Nanekara and Daria Zinelnikova. The Russian woman had been living in Sri Lanka for a long period and was travelling in the 3-wheeler after dropping off her child at a daycare centre. Can reckless driving alone be ruled as a cause for the accident? According to the locals, the signal system at the Maharamba crossing has malfunctioned for several months. Railways General Manager WADS Gunasinghe, speaking to Newsfirst, accepted that the department does not have the spare parts to repair the signal system. He said that tenders have been called for to import the necessary parts. However, the Railways General Manager said an investigation will take place into the incident. Over in Jaffna, a bus driver died after a train crashed through the bus at the Mambalam railway crossing in Ariale, Jaffna. An intercity express train from Jaffna to Colombo crashed through the bus in the Punkamkulam area in Ariale. Locals said that though the signals were working fine, it is not visible to drivers as it is covered by trees.
News First with the people.
25% for 2 months. 25.5% for 4 months. Valuable FD. A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD. 25% for 2 months. 25.5% for 4 months. Valuable FD. The symbol of stability.
Ivan Satutin inni wiring karala. Wiring kirwe is non-polycon yodala.
For your safety and the protection of the wires used in networking and AC wiring, Eslon Polycon cable trunking.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe has said there are many Samruddhi beneficiaries who are not eligible to receive benefits under the scheme. Speaking during the budget debate, President Wickremesinghe said that groups that are not eligible will be removed from the Samruddhi scheme and the benefits will be given to those who are truly in need.
The main issue in the Samruddhi scheme is that there are many people who are eligible to receive the Samruddhi benefit, but we can't accommodate them because there are many people who are not eligible to receive the benefits under the Samruddhi scheme. If those who are not eligible are removed, we can include those who are eligible. Some might see this as a political move, but people who should be given the Samruddhi benefit must be given it first. We do not have money to pay for everyone. Some of the decisions we make may not be popular, but the parliament must have the strength to press on.
The President also spoke during the debate on the expenditure head of the Ministry of Education and Women and Children's Affairs and highlighted several reforms in the education sector.
අපිට ඕනේ 2023 ඉඳන් අවුරුදු 25ක් ඉදිරියට යන්න තියෙන පාසල් ක්‍රම මේක සම්පූර්ණ අපි දන්න එක වෙනස් වෙයි. Sri Lanka can be a regional hub for education. Let us make up our mind. You are allowing billions of dollars to go out. මං හිතන්නේ විශාල සංඛ්‍යාවක් මෙතුමා ළඟ වාර්තාවක් තියෙන පිටරට යන. At least 3 billion. 3 billion. ඉතින් මේක billion.
If we do this right, not only will we be able to save 3 billion, but we will also be able to bring in another 10 billion to the country. I spoke about the university system and said that I left the university when I was 21. Many graduates were either 21 or 22 years old when they left the university. Are we going to face this issue or not?
Saitam was started during the reign of Mahinda Rajapaksa. When we were continuing it during the Yahapalnia government, these people opposed it. The Court of Appeal accepted Saitam and the Supreme Court was about to deliver their decision. But Saitam was closed down against what we advised. Do you think that they will allow you to open private universities?
It can be non-governmental, it could be private, or it could be not-for-profit. We need a system to decide on that. That is why I am saying this time we don't need discussions. When I say that we don't need discussions, you say that I am detaining students. How can a 35-year-old man be a university student? This person was working at Sirikota when he was 31. Let's stop this. If there is anyone against this, they can speak up. We will have to ask this from Viatmagar. The people like Gunaruan are speaking about that. Do not ask me about it. If students are selected based on their qualifications, we are ready to even give them concessionary loans. Tell me about any university that does not charge. Free education should be free both internally and externally. Then we should tax the external degrees. If we are conducting a business, we should tax it. We should impose a VAT.
ඕන කෙනෙකුට අද පුළුවන් සයිතමක පටන් ගන්න. ඒ නිසා තමුන්නාස්ගල සියලු දෙනා කැමති නම් අපි පටන් ගමු. අර විශ්වවිද්‍යාල ප්‍රතිපාදන
If a system to regulate universities based on certain qualifications under the University Grants Commission can be established, I don't think anyone can object to it now.
මේ කාලේ විරුද්ධ වෙන්න බෑ. UGC නේ අපි
Not the UGC. Let's decide from Parliament and formulate it here. I believe that the issue is not only for medical colleges. There are no issues for the rest. The University Act in place only deals with government universities. We will include certain criteria and say that non-government universities can also be established.
විශ්වවිද්‍යාල පටන් ගන්න පුළුවන් කියන්නේ. විශ්වවිද්‍යාල පද්ධතිය තුල අපි
Going for a short-term solution for the university issue is all right. But in the long term, I propose that we formulate an action plan for a change in the entire education system as far as the quality of the education is concerned.
When formulating policy, we need to be careful not to formulate policy based on personal experiences. We need to remember that our personal experiences are not equal to the average conditions. There are many reasons in the education system of our country that does not allow a student to graduate from a state university in the country. According to the situation in the country today, a student only enters the university when he is 21 years old. So making statements like this based on our personal experiences and formulating policies based on our personal experiences is dangerous and it should not be done.
Sri Lanka's opposition leader Sajith Premadasa on Thursday announced that a program named Sri Lanka First is underway to uplift Sri Lanka into the #1 position. He made this announcement while officially donating a school bus to Fatima Muslim Ladies College, Colombo 12. The opposition leader drove the bus himself and handed over the keys to the school principal. This is the 41st bus donated to a school under the Sakvala program.
Our program is to make Sri Lanka first. In this journey, our government will bring the new world trends in English language education and information technology. Things like biotechnology, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, blockchain, machine learning, big data are yet to reach our school education system. In addition, we will make education a fundamental right. We need to think anew with the competitive world. We should not fear. Some ask, is that even possible? Yes, we will rise. We cannot follow the old system. We need to think out of the box. We don't need positions. If a government does something good or bad, we will say it as it is. We need practical, honest alternatives to solve the issues. That is the only solution.
The National People's Power organised a mass protest march and rally in Galle on Thursday. The protest march from Margalla reached Samanala Bridge and the rally began from there. Addressing the rally, the leader of the NPP, Andrukumara Dissanayake, stated that a government should be formed through a popular opinion rather than getting caught up in plan to incite repression.
Ranil Wickramasinghe Satam Bima Parliamentui 134.
Ranil Wickramasinghe's battlefield is the parliament and the 134 parliamentarians. Ranil Wickramasinghe's battlefield is the constitution, but the NPP's strength against this is the people of the country. Let's fight and see. Let's put into war your constitutional articles, your 134 MPs, against the strength of the people that have gathered here today in Galle. He's on an empty battlefield, swinging his sword, asking people to come and fight. He should remember that we will not go to his battlefield to fight. He wants violence. He wants conflict. So please keep your Hitler tales to yourself. He's saying that emergency law will be imposed, that the police and the military will be deployed. If he's trying to deploy the country's military to frighten the people, then he will have to bring down military forces from another country. Sri Lankan military personnel will no longer raise their weapons against the people of this country. He can only satisfy the 134 parliamentarians. He cannot please the people. What is Ranil's only project at the moment? To make the 134 MPs of the SLPP happy. But he should remember that neither the people, state sector employees, police, fishermen, members of the tri-forces, private sector employees, small estate owners or small businessmen are happy in this country. The NPP has the blessing, the support of all of these people. Let's unite to form a good government. Let's fight for that. I invite you all to come forward for this.
ඒ සඳහා ඉදිරියටම කියලා ආරාධනා කරමින් මම නතර වෙනවා බොහොම ස්තුතියි හැම දිනාටම ජය වේවා කියලා ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා.
Professionals warned of several serious issues that would arise if the proposal to increase income tax on those who earn more than 100,000 rupees a month from between 6% to 36% go ahead.
Sri Lankan citizens are already paying large amounts in taxes, but those taxes are not paid in the right way. They are not direct taxes. Direct taxes are only 20%, while indirect taxes are 80%. This is a massive amount of tax. Increasing taxes without fixing the indirect taxes will seriously affect state sector employees and professionals. According to this tax policy, a person will have to pay 2 months of his annual salary to the government as taxes every year, despite not being admitted expressly. The common understanding among the people is that these reforms are being made as per the agreement with the IMF. There are countries that did things like this in the world. But the main issue here is that even in countries like Malaysia, when the tax threshold was lowered, they started with a tax rate of about 1%. Either increased the threshold to about 200,000 rupees and reduced this 6% tax rate. Doctors are leaving the country. This will result in the hospitals in the country having to close down. If we are to move forward as a country, we must have a tax system that is acceptable by all. Officers for top positions in the CEB are never recruited externally. Everyone is properly trained and they move up like that. You cannot get people externally for this. When we continue to provide these services against such a backdrop, with the situation in the country, many engineers, accountants and many non-executive technical employees are leaving the country. The government must think as to how these services can be continuously provided in such a situation.
Say No Together, an awareness program on sexual gender-based violence was held at the Independence Arcade on Thursday.
The Say No Together awareness program will take form of a unique 10-day exhibition from the 1st of December to the 10th of December. Thursday's program discussed the topic of harassment and violence in workplaces.
Today's discussion will be a starting point to move forward with this conversation surrounding C190, the Violence and Harassment Convention, and will gradually create the environment that will make it a possibility to ratify C190 in the Sri Lankan context and get it involved in the legal system of Sri Lanka, so that within the structure itself, the inequalities, the issues that we as women who are most of the time on the receiving end of violence, mainly due to the power imbalances that are prevalent in today's society, will have some sort of reassurance that our voices will be heard and that we will have a sense of security to go about our lives.
The exhibition will include gallery exhibits, live sessions, performance and forums under the theme of ending gender-based violence. This year, United Nations is basing their campaign on gender basis under the theme, quote-unquote, Unite, Activism to End Violence Against Women and Girls.
Today is World AIDS Day. The World Health Organization joins member states and partners to highlight the urgent need for everyone to be provided equitable access to quality HIV prevention.
3,600 people are estimated to be living with HIV in Sri Lanka, and the disease has claimed up to 100 lives to date. The National STD AIDS Control Program says at least 420 discrimination, stigma and exclusion. The human rights of key populations and affected groups must be respected, protected and fulfilled.
France's Stephanie Frappart will break new records at the 2022 FIFA World Cup as part of an all-female refereeing team on Thursday. All matches of the 2022 FIFA World Cup are being aired live on TV1 as MTV NBC Network, the champion network, is geared up to bring the exhilarating action of football's grandest event to your screen. Moving on with more sports news, England have made history in Pakistan by scoring 506 for 4 on day one of the first test, with 4 players hitting centuries. They beat the 494 runs made by Australia against South Africa in Sydney in the first test of the series in 1910.
ඇත්ත කෙටියෙන් දත්ත වැඩියෙන් සයිබර් අවකාශයේ කලබන වුවත් සලකුණ News First YouTube channel අදම subscribe කරන්න. News First ජනතාව සමග.
News First News Alert ඔබේ ජංගම දුරකථනයටත් ඔබ ඩයිලොග් පාරිභෝගිකයෙක් නම් English Alert සේවාව ලබා ගැනීමට NFU ලෙසත් Singlish Alert සේවාව ලබා ගැනීමට NUS ලෙසත් Tanglish Alert සේවාව ලබා ගැනීමට NAT ලෙසත් ටයිප් කර 678ට send කරන්න.
And that's a wrap of your news for tonight. For the News First team and Mariam Ganavijaya, thank you for watching. Good night and take care.